Yeah, running. I got toes. Oh, how many seconds have already passed since I started? This property value just dropped.
Oh, that hurts.
All right, going to open the work session at 5:31. All members are present. We're going to go with, start off with Mr. Mannery, Mr. Mannery, our administrator.
Okay, at 6 o'clock, Carol Fife is going to come in to meet with you. She's with Ohio Health Insurance. She's the person that Gabe recommended. We talked to, I interviewed her last week, and I think she is better qualified to handle what we're looking for than the other people I talked to. So she's going to come in, you can talk with her. I would think towards the end of this month is when she might start seeing renewal rates. So she's not here to make a presentation, she's here to meet you. Introduce. Okay. At 6:15, Keith Mitchell is coming. Keith Mitchell is from Palmieri Builders. He replaced Dave Wager. I don't know if Dave is still with the company and just different assignment, or if he's left the company. This guy called and said he'd like to come in just to introduce himself. Palmieri Builders is still going to be building homes in the township, and he'd like to meet you.
Very good. Is there anything that they're going to be updating on this? I saw it in the packet we got. There was a bunch of stuff about Fairway Pines, and I started to go through it. But knowing he was coming, I was wondering if there's going to be some presentation on that. Is he asking for something different, or what?
What the message I got from Rich was he just wanted to come in and introduce himself so that you guys know who each other are. He'll be back because they're still going to be building homes. I don't believe the purpose is to give an update. Fairway Pines. I think it's a meet and greet.
Okay.
Let me just interject a quick comment. He will be able to speak a little bit about the plat and the improvement plans for Phase 3A at Fairway Pines. It's pretty straightforward. There was nothing really alarming or consequential to any of the planning commission's deliberations. Ryan is selling homes faster than what they anticipated. So they wanted to split Phase 3 into two sub-phases, A and B. I think A is going to have 20-some sublots, and they're going to try to get that in and completed before the end of the year. And then 3B, they'll submit the plat and improvement plans in the spring and try to get that built in during the late spring, early summer. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's good news to hear. Okay. When, as far as just on a side note related to that, Rich, Bill, Mike, somebody knows, plowing their streets. Those aren't dedicated roads yet, so I'm assuming. So are we going to be plowing those in the fall or the winter time?
Yeah, yes, all except for Phase 3A and B. But the ones that have already been in there, yeah, we even plowed them last year.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
All but one of them have houses on it.
All right. Good enough. Thank you, sir. All right, Michael, keep going.
Yeah, CRA update. You passed a resolution. We're getting close. We're almost there. You passed a resolution authorizing creation of the CRA. It did not have all the information in it that it needs. So tonight on the public meeting agenda, you're going to rescind that resolution and pass an updated resolution which has all of the verbiage in it that's required. What I'm waiting on right now is the timeline. I have not received the certified mail receipts from Auburn Career Center and ESC of Western Reserve yet. I had to resend their letters because the post office didn't deliver them. And I sent them certified, and you can track it online. And they show entering them, but they didn't deliver them. They delivered the one to Auburn. They did deliver the one to, well, they didn't deliver you the original letters. So I resent them last week. The CFO of Auburn called me to ask a question on Monday, so I know he got his letter. I haven't received his receipt yet. Once I get the two signed certified receipts, I've met all the requirements except this resolution. We have to advertise for 2 weeks, which the earliest I can get it in is a week from Friday. their deadline. So in 2.5 weeks, we will be ready to send this application to the commissioners, asking for them to bless it and send it on to the state. And the Department of Development Services has to approve it. And I've talked to that guy a lot because I've asked some questions and that. So I think we're really close. I think by the end of this month we'll have filed.
Wow.
CARES Act purchases, y'all, I hooked on my email yesterday so you know what the balances are. It's a matter of, the fire department has some requests, the service department has some requests, and I've got chair requests for here. Who wants to go first? Boy, jump out of your chairs, guys.
Okay, I'm going to request a 1-ton truck, another truck for the service department, again, to help us keep one guy in a truck. This particular truck will be a 1-ton that we will have a flatbed on it instead of a dump bed, but we will also purchase a V-box salt spreader that and a plow. So it can be used to salt and plow, but it won't be a frontline truck. And then when it's not needed during the winter months, that V-box can be removed from the truck in just minutes. And then it can be used as a flatbed truck for the guys to use out on the jobs. And that amount would not exceed $65,000.
Fully outfitted, plow and everything?
Yes.
Did you get we have a quote for that actually, or?
Yes.
So we have a number, so if we wanted to move forward with it, we could pass a resolution.
Well, I have
You have to pass
a
the resolution first.
I have a solid number from Classic for the cabin chassis, and then Best Truck would be supplying the rest of it, and I don't have a written quote from them, but they've told me.
How are we paying for this?
The CARES Act funds. We're starting today in the meeting, we have $194,000 in available CARES Act funds that we need to spend between now and October 15th. Whatever amount we do not spend by October 15th, we have to hand back over to the Lake County Auditor's Office, and they will redistribute the money to the other communities in the county who have spent theirs and want more.
Do we know if it's so redistributed to people who want to spend more, or people who have already spent more and just haven't been reimbursed for it because they've exceeded?
I'm sorry, I don't get the question. I don't know what the criteria is for distributing the money to the other communities.
Well, I'd probably, since it's not reimbursement that you're allocated funds, it would probably be like, I'm just guessing, since it's not reimbursement, whatever's left, then I can reapply for more.
Yeah, I didn't know if it would be.
Or you could do stuff in arrears, you're asking?
Well, I don't know if some communities said, hey, we spent all of ours plus another 50,000.
And then try for what's
so
left.
We want that 50.
Right.
Reimbursed.
If that's part of the new second wave, you can go for back to pay back expenses too. Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, because we're not going to spend more than what we have.
It's highly unlikely that, right now, if the trustees said yes to the total dollar amount you're gonna get asked for, and we'll still have $60,000 in the fund available to us.
For OT and stuff.
But for overtime, for whatever we want, and we'll have another meeting or two to make decisions. If we want.
So like, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
What color, white or orange?
Well, they have one white truck available. If we decide we want it now, we'll get a white one. And if we don't decide, if we just don't decide tonight, then we might end up having to order an orange one. If we order an orange one, we probably won't get it till March. Because it's,
So yeah, that's the point, is to do this for what you're saying, then you would get a white.
Yeah. So then,
and the deal with the orange trucks is They're done making the 2020s now. I mean, the one we're looking at is a 2020. We'd have to order a 2021, and since orange isn't that popular a color, they have to wait until they get a certain number of orange orders for an orange truck before they'll run that paint line. So it takes longer for that particular color. And it's like that with dump trucks or pickups or anything that you want orange, there's a little bit of a delay. Nobody's got orange ones on a lot.
Yeah, I don't move very quickly.
Yeah, right. Highway Concord, those are red now, huh? A lot easier to get
So
that
Mike, let
color.
me go back to what you said about having the $60,000 left over if, after we hear the chief, he's gonna have some more to throw at us, which will be another, 70,000 some bucks, 60. Whatever the number is, there'll be 60 left over. And as far as, and I heard Gabe mention the overtime. So we've been paying overtime to these guys. Have we reimbursed the account yet with for that overtime money so we can make it right, or what have we done?
I don't know how the internal accounting's been handled. Have we transferred funds? Karen has accounted for every nickel and dime of overtime that's been spent, and it's deducted it from the balance I'm telling you about tonight. Whether she's done it UAN or not, I'm not sure, but the balances I'm giving you have accounted for every expense we've come across so far.
Well, that would make sense for him raising an eyebrow and me being higher for that number.
So then that essentially is a 60,000 from now until the end of October,
Till October 15th.
15th
Middle of
rather.
October.
So really 45 days.
Yeah. So there's still time for us to discover a need or identify a need that we could address. Plus, there's gonna be more money coming
Right later.
later.
Is that all you had was a?
Yes.
A truck?
Yeah, 'cause,
Yes.
I mean, it can't hurt to, with that extra money, not to spend a ton of it, but to get a proper mic system and maybe look at, you know, if this is camera, because even after, we're gonna use this for now, that's the whole point of that, but something that in the future, if we wanna just,
Right.
you know, we could always just do a
We
live
need to
stream
be
on
able to do
Facebook or
this.
YouTube or something moving forward, that, you know.
So Bill, looking at this, when we did the levy, I'm looking at a 2014 vehicle replacement plan that we had in place. And for this year, I know things may have shifted, so last time it was updated was February of 2017. I show this year, we were gonna buy a F-450 crew cab, which was a 2000 model, it's gonna cost us about 60 grand.
That's not the latest updated one, Joe. Because we just replaced 2 trucks last year. I should have had.
Yeah,
should have-
we did one ahead of
Okay,
time,
there's
right?
another one in 2018, okay.
Yeah, 'cause we did one ahead of time last year.
Yes.
So let me look here, bear with me. So in 2020, the international projected replacement cost was 160.
Yes, and we replaced that last
That was
fall.
the one that we moved up.
Yeah. So in 2020, the plan was there wasn't going to be any. And looking ahead in 2021, all of our large trucks we're good. We don't need another one.
So in 2022, according to this, there's a proposed purchase of an F-450 Ford, right?
That was for the 2000 that we're using, but
So this vehicle you're proposing, could that replace that vehicle or not?
Before you answer that, hold on, before you answer that, the money we get isn't to replace current needs.
we cannot purchase
That's-
anything that is currently, we can't purchase anything that's already on our
Schedule.
capital improvement.
This is stuff we need
Directional.
for social distancing. Just
I've got some thoughts I need to keep to myself, so it's all good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, on my wish list, there's a chase vehicle for Station 2.
Question? That means each station's gonna have a chase vehicle?
Yes, each
Because
one,
we did Station 1 last time, so we 2 and 3 already has one.
yeah, 3 already has them. They have a pickup truck.
Or
that
one
three-
has one.
We
Last
leased
meeting-
one, the one here,
Right,
and then they bought one already, and then we're gonna buy this one.
So all 3 stations are gonna have a chase?
yes. In Station 2, we're looking at a Dodge Ram 1500 quad cab
and pick up.
pickup. Yeah, We looked at state bid and what was available and who would match state bid. And
Cost-wise.
cost-wise, I mean, it's $24,500 for, yeah, we can't beat the deal. I mean,
24,000?
yeah, 500 for
Crazy,
a
dude.
quad, yeah, 1,500 Dodge Ram.
I remember they used to happen when I was at Ford. Police departments didn't want an Expedition, but it was cheaper to get a Ford Expedition than it was a Crown Vic, so they would buy these Expeditions for
Yeah.
like 10 grand less
Well,
than
that's
a Crown Vic. would
what-
cost.
Yeah, on state bid, the bang for the buck right now is the Dodge Ram. I mean, you can't
There you go.
beat that.
So
So
4x4, I'm guessing.
4x4, yeah.
You want a pickup truck?
Actually, that's the preferred thing that those guys at that station wanted, yeah. Because it was that and a Durango were the,
Yeah.
And are you including a truck cab for this too?
I was not, so.
I mean, wouldn't that make sense? too?
Yes, it would.
Okay,
We'll make sure that gets put on that.
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, I'll find out what one of those.
Shouldn't it have,
2 grand,
$2,000, okay, then it would be $2,000 more, so 26,500.
so would you have like, equipment, like, tool?
The chase vehicles really don't have a lot of that, it would just, I mean, wiring and lights, but we do that in-house too, so.
but then you could at least get the cab so you can utilize the vetted haul equipment, or if you needed to bring any for some sort of, there was a disaster, an emergency where they had to load extra equipment in
Well,
weather, they could have covered.
yeah, that would be nice, and I know that's what, like Painesville City, I don't know if you've seen theirs, they have 2 Dodge Rams for chase vehicles that follow the squad
Yeah.
around. So it would be the same thing.
How would we go with like our striker cots? We got striker cots for everything?
Well, yeah, we just ordered those, they should be in any day, they said 2 weeks. and we ordered a week ago.
Through this money's here,
What's that?
through these monies?
Through the CARES Act, that's already been deducted.
Okay.
Yeah. That was on the last round of, or he deducted that already.
Okay, so we got strikers for every,
Right, we got the load systems for every squad. Yeah. And we got the chest compression devices for every squad. In fact, those have already been used. We got them in service and they've already been used twice, so fantastic. They do work well. Anyways, the other thing with, kind of smaller items, but, or no, one isn't, I'm sorry. One thing is WT batteries. We could replace all of our WT batteries. They're all getting old. And again, they're not supposed to use as replacements, but they'd be extra batteries, if we want to call it that, extra batteries for communication, which is communication was one of the things. Those are $100 a piece, and to get enough to set up for all 3 stations would be 30 of them, so $3,000.
And that's an eligible expense?
It's listed, communications for this is listed, so.
Okay.
Necessary communications.
That's one of those things we need, wood edge, but you need them to, in an emergency.
Yeah, you know, to get a hold of each other.
Yeah, right, okay.
All right, and then the other thing, we have, under the federal grant that we just got, we're getting 3 life pack, we're looking at life pack, we're looking at 3 defibrillators. Those were $33,000 a piece, at $112,000 we got on the grant from AFG. That'll be 1 for each frontline squad. If there's money left, it would be nice to get 1 for the backup squad. And so we'd have an extra, one of those would be another $33,000.
One, I would think we would want.
1 in each
It'd
squad.
be nice to have it in the backup squad.
Well, in case, right, we don't, yeah, in case the backup squad has to go out,
We're not, even if something breaks down, then we're not.
right, trying to scramble around to get
Yeah.
equipment transferred back and forth.
Absolutely.
So that would be it though.
what about internally, any filtration, air filtration systems or anything like that?
I don't, I mean, no,
Buildings, stuff.
I suppose there's a lot of that, I just don't know anything about that, and I don't know.
Sort of have a filtration for the
Yeah, I don't know who. we
HVAC
trust.
system, or is that what you're saying? Yeah,
Would it be,
I mean, that's, a lot, I know they are installing those in a lot of
Yeah,
places.
I
or-
don't know anything about it. So. Yeah,
Or another, I know somebody out there also doing same thing, but it's like my buddy owns a building, a commercial building, and they put it to UV light system that goes in the,
Exactly, that's the only thing I was gonna ask about.
it's a UV light system that goes in the HVAC system, so it essentially kicks on UV light, and when the air comes through, it kills all the type of contaminants or germs that are in the air when it's going through the filter, so. And they're not crazy expensive.
I can certainly look into it.
More than, but by the time you install them, but I'm just saying,
Right, those UV lightings. things
yeah,
are
that's like
kinda
the
nice.
versatile replacing
Yeah, now
filter,
they
these
were-
things never have to be
probably even get one for this room here where you, or one of those portable ones that they have, because they basically kill every virus thing that's in here.
Right.
That's like 99.9%. You just stick the thing in there, open up a couple windows, whatever, leave it in there, it goes on for 2 or 3 hours and shoots UV light around the whole area. And it's better than sanitizing with formula, with any kind of cleaning solutions or anything like that, because the UV light kills all of the germs and all of this, including.
Oh, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
It'll be part of tonight's decision, but we'll look
Yeah,
into
that
the
would
cost.
Yeah, we're just thinking about things, because we got more stuff coming down the line too, so.
Do you also look and check around if any communities use the money to, I know we looked at one point in doing for the garage bays, the exhaust systems.
I mean, yeah, that's actually been, I don't know that any other departments have used it for that. I don't know how that, you make it qualify or not, I don't know.
I don't know how it would, but if there were other communities that did,
Yeah, I don't know of any.
okay, and we can find out what approach they took, what they're claiming, then that would allow us to talk about it.
The rest of these, I know people have bought similar things, but that I don't know.
I mean, definitely checking that UV light, because
Yeah.
Do we have an
How else
HVAC
is
guy
gonna-
that we use?
That doesn't necessarily, I don't know if that's HVAC at all.
What, the UVs?
And they can use, I
The
mean,
UVs that the one I know, they get hooked into, the guy that got one, it was hooked into their HVAC system. So when the air came through,
right.
it
So I just
it
cleaned the air.
sanitized the air essentially before it gets put back into the,
These things, like you set it in the middle.
yeah,
of
no,
the
it's like a
room,
light system, right?
And it goes off
And
and
shoots the, yeah.
kills.
So it's, there are two different
Like the
things.
laser show from the 70s or what?
Kind of.
Or
I mean,
Yeah, right,
it's two
just go
different
on.
things, really. One is an active system, one is a, like a clean, almost a better, I mean, a way, lack of better words, like a cleanup system, right? So once it's in here, when we were done, let's say, and you would run it, it would sanitize around. The other one is why the air's, people are in it, it's,
I think our best bet is whoever we had used for HVAC, we use one person, one company.
We use one for Township Hall, and the fire department uses their own.
But that's not really, this is a little bit of a different technology.
Well, I'm talking about what Gabe,
The
I'm
active
familiar
system.
with what Gabe was mentioning, where it's actually hooked up to the ductwork and it's on, as it draws air through it, it passes past it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's probably an easy call to our HVAC contractors of, you guys install these, how much?
right. They're like in line, they go right hook right into the,
Yeah.
system, the pump.
Was that, because I was actually thinking about coming up with a company like that at one point. I was doing some research and stuff like that.
The other one is just something, I think you just buy those and you plug them in and put it in the room and it does.
The airlines are starting to use them. Where
Correct.
They just go right down those middle, they kind of design them now where they just go right down the aisle and they reach out over the top of all the things, and as they go over that, they're just that UV light will kill all the germs everywhere. As long as that light touches it, it's killing the germs.
So they're two different
Right.
animals.
Right, yeah, completely, yeah, I'm not talking about.
We'll do a little research.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can call,
But to do that, then you don't have to pay somebody to come in here to do a full, cleaning in the office here.
Next meeting.
Especially like in this room right here.
Okay. All right, what's next?
Well, let's stop here, because we're gonna have another guest come in at 6:15, so I'd like to introduce Carol, and she can talk with you guys for a moment, and then, Carol can leave, and we can bring the next person in, there won't be any.
Carol, want to stick around for this awesome, exciting meeting?
and then we'll get back, then we'll finish the CARES Act discussion then, Mike.
Yeah, but we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to the CARES, because we're not done with that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me here. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yep,
the
I am sorry. Oh, sorry.
opportunity.
It's okay.
Just have a seat, we're doing something else, and then I'll introduce you.
No problem.
So just to give you a little background, which Mike is already aware of, I've been in the insurance industry for over 30 years now, so that's kind of crazy in itself. I first started out at a small TPA, so I handled all self-funded groups, and it was smaller groups between 50 and around 200. And then from there, I moved to Qual Choice Health Plan. I don't know if you guys remember Qual Choice. They were owned by university hospitals back in the day. And that's where I really gained a lot of experience in the public sector. So I worked with groups from 50 employees to thousands. Like Cuyahoga County was one of my accounts. I had City of South Euclid, which I did a lot of negotiating with the union there, Cleveland Public Schools, Medina City Schools. So that's where I did gain a lot of that experience. From there, I moved to United. So United Healthcare, I was there for about 3 years. And then in 2005, I decided to go on my own. So I'm on my own. My specialty is the small group business. So I work with accounts between 2 and 50 employees. So this would be right in the wheelhouse. And I have a very diverse book of business right now. I have manufacturing, I have insurance companies, law firms, chiropractic practices, veterinarian. So it's very diverse. Many of my accounts, I still have accounts on grandfather plans like you. And then I have ACA accounts and also accounts with MEWA, or association plans, which those plans kind of work out how it did in the old day, where you'd fill out medical underwriting, and then, but if you're a pretty healthy group, it's a very viable option because the rates are so much better than the atrocious ACA plans and what's out there. So,
It's the Affordable Care Act.
yeah, yes, the ACA, the affordable, yeah, which is not so affordable. It's,
Quite the misnomer, right?
yeah, right, it's just the worst, poorly written legislation, but, and then my partner's my sister, and she handles all of the individual. So she handles under 65, she handles Medicare and Medicare sub. So it's kind of nice, we get a report every month for any employees with businesses that are turning 65. So we contact them, saves them money, gets them off the group plan, it saves you money, just anything to control your costs. So, that's about it in a nutshell. Do you have any questions for me? Other questions? Or?
Do you work with any other communities currently?
I currently do not. But like I said, I have so much experience with all different size, accounts in the public sector.
Would you be able to represent us with our current
Like a
plan?
broker dealer change, right? We just.
Oh,
change
absolutely,
broker.
right, yes. And I had, I would have the same contact that Freddie had, Johnny Stanton.
So you know her.
Oh, we
Yeah,
have a
sure.
great relationship, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing that kind of explains to you is that big thing for us is that Medical Mutual will come and say, hey, you guys have a 23% increase, and we'd all laugh and have a big laugh about it. And then he would go back and try to negotiate that down and get us, a much lower rate. So that's really what we're looking, I think, too, is for somebody to go to bat for us.
Absolutely.
To keep us out of ACAs, you already said, and we all know,
Mm-hmm.
you go from here to here instantly by moving up. So we want to stay out of there, keep our plan, but keep the races close. I mean, we know with the nature of the beast that you're never going to stand pat anymore. There's going to be some movement, but the hope is to minimize that movement for us as much as possible. I mean, you're always going to take rates, it seems now. It's just the nature of the beast, but as minimal as possible, I think, is what's important. And Fred always told us that because of his relationship, he could work us, down that rate. So sounds like hopefully you have that same type of.
I have a great relationship with her. And right now, the grandfather plans are trending between 10 and 12%. So, it depends on experience, but, I definitely would bat for you and go back and negotiate to fit you, the best prices possible.
The other thing too is, looking at the deductible.
Right.
So give us any kind of, info that you might have on that. Hey, you might want
Yeah.
to raise or lower that.
I'm sure Mike gave you how we work by funding the HSAs, which actually by putting, I don't know if you got
I was
it.
saying, how much, do you know anything about the plan we have currently?
I do not.
Okay.
I do,
All right.
yeah, I
I
don't.
know
So,
it.
yeah, I don't have the details. So if I do get the agent of record, that's when Medical Mutual will release all the
Switch over,
information to me. And then, so, yeah, yeah.
So I think that's important for her to, we do that agent record change so that she can get the information as soon as possible to really start working on it, so she becomes familiar with what we're doing. I think that's,
I think what Mike was gonna say was, you know, we have a high deductible,
Okay, so you didn't choose.
but we
Yeah,
fund,
now they're an agency.
we
Okay.
fund everybody.
which saves us
Yeah.
money even by funding the HSA, by moving the deductible up.
Exactly.
We're spending the same amount, but by spending the same amount, so to speak, it brings our premium down versus a lower deductible, we would actually pay more than we are by funding the HSA. You
Right.
know how that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I would do. Every renewal that I get, I look at alternative options, different plan designs, different employee contribution strategies, just to figure out what would work the best for you.
And Chuck?
No,
Yes,
actually, one of,
yes,
a friend
I did
of mine is
notice
a
that,
client, and so I got a phone call. I don't know how it come up in conversation, probably just talking to him because he likes to talk.
Yeah,
But
Jay,
I was
yeah.
on vacation last week, and I got a phone call, I'm out on this walk, and he tells me he's coming. So Gabe recommended you. I've got a phone call from somebody that I respect,
Yeah.
and I'm good. I'm good. I heard all I needed to hear when I spoke to Dave, and I
Oh.
recommended from Gabe, so.
Thank you.
So I think do the record change.
We're good. Carol will talk tomorrow about the change
Okay.
of record form, and
Okay.
we can handle that tomorrow.
Sounds great. Okay, I look forward to working with you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
When's the next one? 6:15?
It's 6:15,
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that.
This is Keith Hamilton.
Keith Mitchell.
I'm sorry, Keith
That's okay.
Mitchell.
After that, I might want to be.
I'm Mike Jones. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm here regarding Fairway Pines Phase 3. We broke it into Phase 3A and B. Actually, 3A is going to connect Bethpage, which will make a big loop in the community, as well as finish Prestwick. Phase 3 will connect us to Bacon. 3B will connect us to Bacon Road. That's going to entail us tearing down the barn, the building out there that's out there. I haven't been through yet, it's building there. Plus, you have a large three-sided culvert to put in to cross the stream, plus obviously the Bacon Road. We don't want to do any of that stuff this fall.
Where's the three-sided culvert at?
It's in 3B. If you go
Who,
right in here, there's a stream that comes right through here. There'll be a three-sided culvert right in there.
What does that mean, three-sided culvert?
That means that I'm not going to impact the stream. I'm just going to build concrete walls up and put a piece of concrete over the top.
Okay.
You know, span is up.
Those are mine. These are mine.
I don't have to be
input
on
on
it.
it.
It's not that wide.
is it a bridge? Is it considered a bridge?
No.
Okay, because then there's inspection requirements. and
Yeah, no, we don't, we try to keep everything
Keep it
small enough.
small enough that
Yeah.
it does not classify.
Because basically, we just come right up to the edge where we can without impact to the stream. And it's just a it's like three-sided box. It's all concrete cast in place typically. The idea is to get 3A in the ground this year, do our work on the building over the winter, get that demo, get everything prepped, so next spring, we can start working on Bacon Road and make that connection. To try to do it this late in the season. I don't want to mess Bacon Road up and the traffic going through there. I want to be able to get in, get it done, and get out of there.
Yeah, I live down that area, so we let you in and out.
Then you don't want us playing around. So,
So to sum it up then, from before you got here, Mike was saying you're selling homes quicker than expected, or Ryan's selling quicker than expected.
Ryan's doing really good. They had a big spurt there 2 or 3 months ago. Like they had like 8 one month, 10 another month. Now they're back down to their normal 5, 4, 5. It seems like so.
But you took phase 3 and split it in two?
We took phase 3 and broke it into phase 3A and 3B.
Yeah, it's the same, there's nothing different.
Nothing's changed as far as phase 3 overall. We
Okay,
just
it's still the same.
we just cut it in
All right,
half.
so when I sign this, I'm not signing anything different.
Any
than
changes
before.
except that you're just.
Yeah, and actually, when you're signing this, you're only signing phase 3A. You're not even signing phase 3B.
Okay.
The engineer
I
said.
was gonna say, I didn't see, I was gonna ask that because I didn't see it on there.
I'll come back, or if I have to come back for 3B. So I like to get that going
Sure.
sooner than later, make sure everything's lined up. And I like to, you might even see me next spring early with phase 4. Because I like to be a little ahead, I like to be ahead of the game, because I hate chasing approvals. Because that way, if you have questions, something comes up, it gives me time to react. So I'm always be a phase ahead. I'm just getting into this project. I'm just kind of new. Actually, I was here when it was infancy. I was with Ryan Holmes. Now, many years later, I'm back at it from the developer side. I remember conversations with you regarding stormwater.
Same, that's why you look familiar.
Couple, yeah. Yeah, that's right, you were, we were in the back room, huh?
Yeah, we had a
You're the
couple of
red suit guy,
presentations.
There we go.
Yeah, we had a couple
Yeah.
presentations in the back room, yes.
All right, very good. Boy, that's funny. So I've had some conversations also, I know you guys are working with, one of my hangups, and they say our hangups, was that, the issues with Vista Largo, Ryan Holmes and Tom Marion there. And my understanding is, speaking with Dick Hurwitz, is that you guys are working with them and things are progressing along.
Yeah, we finished the
He seems-
basin,
he seems
redoing that.
pleased.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you, appreciate that.
No problem. And actually, the sign and the entry planning should be going again this fall. So
That's what he
that's all
told
going.
me,
So,
that's what
yeah,
he told me. So you keep him happy, I'm happy, and we'll keep moving along there. So thank you.
easy enough.
All right.
Any questions or anything? No.
You got a business card?
I do.
If, out of chance, need to contact you, if you'd have.
Can you contact me?
Thank you.
There you go. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So we're good?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm good.
Have a good night.
Do we need to sign this now for him to take it with them, or what?
You can.
I mean, if we
You wanna
sign
take
this
it?
now, you take this with you?
Yeah, I'll take it with me,
Well,
yeah,
let's say
because
you
then
trip
I'll,
then.
The paper plans are on the counter over there if you need those. Came with it.
no, it's just in case you had questions on
Okay.
it or anything like that, I believe. I think we've got to get, I think they signed a paper copy.
No,
No, they always sign.
no,
papers.
they were just with the Mylar.
Yeah, I needed a Mylar cover sheet to get them to sign that one, so.
You guys want to sign?
Appreciate you guys having this in person too, that's a lot easier. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did them first for the first 3 months, 2.5 months, and then it's like, yeah, I'm coming in. I'm coming in.
Sometimes it's hard to explain, I can point to a drawing, so much easier than.
And then when you get more than one, you get two people talking, and it's like, drives you nuts, because nobody can hear that the other person's talking until they're halfway through their statement.
Somebody leaves, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was talking to, I was with a group last night, and we were talking about these Zoom meetings, and this one lady, she's a school teacher, I don't know what school it is, but she said one of the guys started getting undressed in front of the camera, he didn't realize his camera was still on, was on, so he was getting changed. Through the middle of the meeting, and he got down to his shorts, and they're all screaming at him, stop!
And probably turn the camera off after that, right?
Oh, my gosh. Crazy.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Have a nice day.
If you have any questions, just call me, that's my cell phone on there. so.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, so, 10 after 6, we've got till 7:30, where do we go next?
We were about to start talking about something, but he stopped us. I know, but what were we talking about? He stopped us and said, let's talk issues before we get into that, let's.
Okay. Would know that.
I think I asked about the station, garage bay evacuation system. That was the last thing I thought we were talking about, and then we moved on.
Oh, I thought we moved on to something. Mike said, don't go into it because we have somebody.
No, we were still in the CARES Act,
Okay.
and Carol walked in right at a breaking point, so I wanted to get her and Keith in and out, so we can continue. So we're still on the CARES Act. Is the chief, are you done? Have you
Yeah, there is.
presented what you were?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing I have is I was asked to look into replacing these chairs, which are all ripped at the head table. And same thing in the conference room, they're all ripped.
With the idea, it's like Perry Township want new hard surface ones to make them easier to clean.
Yeah, so like a
Not
leather.
replacing them because they're ripped, but.
No, yeah.
They're difficult to clean.
That is great, it's just, they can be sanitized, those can't. So in any case, if we bought 6 of what, you can look at a couple different ones, there isn't a real wide variety, but on wheels, with arms, big padding, 6 of them would cost $4,200. That's not a cheat sheet. 6 of them would cost,
Office furniture is the biggest.
about $4,300.
For 6?
It really is.
Yeah.
man.
So 6 in here, and then how many in there?
6 in there, so it'd be $8,600. I have to get those, but that's what I.
Well, I mean, you buy cheap ones, they're gonna fall apart.
That's true too.
They're like ergonomic.
And not gonna be able to sanitize them as easy, probably, but these are like easily sanitized.
That's, yeah, they have a surface that is made for easy cleaning,
Right.
to withstand multiple different people using.
Six.
Well, we have traditionally need 6 at this table.
I know.
6 at this table and 6 at the conference room table.
Although, like,
Do we get 7 for each room?
We can do that.
In case, I don't know, something happens to one, then you're not scrambling.
I'm just thinking ahead while we're, we have this going on, but thinking ahead too, not that this involves that purchase, but once we put us normal set up back at this table, I kind of like what's going on here, not with them, but with putting these two at a table over there versus sitting in the crowd, you know what I'm saying? And not necessarily a party fold-up table, but you know what I mean? Like, I kind of like
A lot of
to
other
get them over,
communities do that.
to get them in an official seat versus just sitting in the crowd. So when there is people here, people can actually look at them versus looking at the back of their head while they're talking. They can actually address the public
That's a good idea.
in a normal way.
See if you can get one that looks like, see if you can get an extension.
What, 5 after 1996 and get one of these?
You'd be shocked.
I mean,
Look at the service, man.
Miscellaneous barn.
It's just like
Oh,
the red mahogany and the, I mean, you probably could, you go down one of those warehouses like in Cleveland where they sell the used furniture, I bet you can find a lot of these.
Where we get all our.
See, yeah, but this kind of stuff, this surface is definitely,
That's just for now.
Right.
That's just for now.
So you want me to
yeah,
look for a
I've gone there
table?
too.
That was good.
East 55th.
What's that, Mike?
Do you want me to look for a table?
We're gonna have to have something, we don't want a white table.
Right, well, I'm just saying, is that a?
Yeah, I would too.
You're gonna have to find something.
can we replace these tables?
Those are really nice tables.
I think besides the date of them, I would wait until the day that we decide that we're gonna like new carpet, do
You
this.
get a couple young guys carry those babies out.
I would wait till that time to replace these.
Okay, that's fine. So 6 big chairs for up here, 2 over there.
You're gonna need 3, because you also have zoning. So you're gonna want 3, at least 3 over
So you
there, if not
Yeah, we're
4.
gonna have a table, a big enough table to seat 3 people, so really another table, what is this, an 8 or 10-foot table? That's an 8-footer right there, so you probably want a 10-foot table, which is probably close to that, right?
That's probably 2, 8, 16.
I bet that's an 8-footer you're at, right?
I would think, I didn't measure that.
Yeah, and this probably looks bigger than that, maybe not, 2 8-footers, at least another 8-footer or 10 up there, with 3 zoning.
3 people, right.
6 and 3 is 9. 10 chairs are in here.
We got the shower.
Well, when he shows up, so
And
or put him
then,
a chair up here, he can address.
so yeah, so 10 chairs in here, 6 in the back meeting room. And then these chairs, or the chairs in the meeting room in the back, do those need something that are more easily cleaned?
These sort of can be cleaned, but I mean, you can't disinfect them, you can simply wipe them, but with the material that's on there, you can't disinfect them.
Getting the plastic hardback.
They sell similar ones.
There's plastic, yeah,
And I don't know if that's
the stackable.
that's like from Uline, or if that's like a Sam's Club purchase, or. I have
Look
no
around,
idea.
I'll look around and get some options and prices for the next meeting, it's in 2 weeks, so.
Because like Jeremy has got a chair, I want you guys too, they're kind of padded, but
Same
same
thing.
as these, I guess.
Yeah, I think I did the same.
Yeah, these are the same.
Okay, because I think there's a few of
Those are the
those in
ones
the
that,
back as
these are the
well.
ones that changed it.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. But yeah,
Was it my-
the board could be here and then our department heads could be against that under the window.
What about with like zoning, to add on the extra packages in the zoning software that will allow for, online, forms and stuff like that? That we were thinking about putting in, but hadn't really decided about yet.
So that they don't have to have face-to-face interaction with the.
Right, so they
Public.
can do the online modules.
Are you aware of an option that would allow residents to deal with us remotely for their zoning permits that's not already in the software we're getting?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Mike is wondering if there's a module or something we can purchase with our zoning software that would make it easier for people to apply for their permits and receive them without having to actually come in and interface with us at the counter.
That's not already included with what we're getting.
Or
No,
that's
we have that option already included. It'll be a link. Sorry.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
Is that an option or is it, I'm just saying, is that a separate option? So we haven't actually,
Yeah, we.
It is
Dude,
go ahead.
sorry, now I'm having difficulty hearing, but it is a separate option, and actually, Mike, that that item that they didn't invoice us for, that we ultimately didn't have to pay for, was the configuration of the public portal. So ultimately, we actually don't have to pay for it because they didn't invoice at the time of the agreement. So
What if they?
so we're getting it anyways?
yeah, we're getting the configuration. There is, hold on, I can pull up the,
Could we get a discount on the other part and pay for the configuration?
so the other part, the part that's included in our annual fee, I can pull that up and we can see
We'll
what
have,
that
a, yeah, we'll have a report for you at the next meeting.
There we go. Yeah, thanks.
Do it like that. What about a zoning vehicle? We should have a zoning vehicle. I know we don't have one now. We pay these guys mileage now or something.
That's not social, I mean, is that social distancing? Is that something that we can, I mean, like with the fire department,
Yeah, there's a
it's
viable,
separating,
yeah,
going to a call or service department separating, going out to a job.
yeah, that, I don't know if that fits in the, I like the thought, but I don't see how it would fit into the,
I'm
Just
all
thinking.
for, I'm all for brainstorming
No, no.
on what we can do and.
all right. Well, think about it and then again, we'll talk next week.
So then next meeting, we can decide on chairs,
Yeah.
what we want to do and.
What about like, you're gonna need like any cameras or any other video equipment for the zoning? To identify zoning violations and stuff like that, to have pictures of it.
Social distancing.
Huh?
How's that fit into social distancing?
So that you don't have to, go up there and draw a picture of it or something.
we could actually get a second camera, so then that way Rich and I aren't sharing one, so we're not touching.
Well, there you go.
Okay, perfect, yep,
Okay.
like it.
What was that?
It's a good idea.
They're gonna get a
Harley.
second camera so they don't have to interchange between the two of them.
You know, in all seriousness though, what these headphones like Rich has,
I
I
think
mean,
everybody.
everybody who does these meetings, they should have a good set of,
Yeah,
I mean, a good set of,
yeah.
thanks.
For beats, hey, either way.
Something good. I mean, you're sitting at home
Nice
and
noise canceling, like headphones that go on, so you
Right.
can,
you can hear better.
What?
I hope it's appropriate to throw it out there. Sean with IT, we can get quotes delivered quickly on all of that for y'all, definitely by next meeting. Along with the
All right.
sound system proposal for the live streaming meeting room there, that's actually going to be delivered tomorrow.
okay, great.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just so you guys know. Sorry to interrupt.
Right.
Because we're-
Just a question, maybe you guys are already doing this, but is the IT's assistance with these meetings something that we can cover? Because it's,
Well, I think isn't, are we being charged?
Any other question?
What, do we pay Sean an additional fee to sit in with these? No, it's included in our,
oh, never mind.
I suppose that is a valid question, actually, for me to additionally chime in. There is a fee per meeting for the after-hours streaming. We are in off hours right now for this.
oh,
But
Yes, for the
that is
evening.
actually a fair question to see if you could cover the fees for this.
our first one since,
Again, sorry for the normally silent guy speaking up there.
Like, what are we talking, like, cost-wise?
I believe it's 100 per meeting.
Okay.
there you go.
That's correct.
Well, that would definitely qualify.
$200.
Yeah. Well, do you also do this for the zoning meetings too?
Yes, sir. BZA as well as the zoning commission.
That's
$300 a month we're paying for this, to do this.
400, right, 300 a month, yes.
Yeah. So I think we need to
We
wrap
can do
that
that.
into, okay.
But that's going to only be for next month and a half.
Well, no, but you've been doing zoning for how long? With this, Sean?
I'm sorry.
How long you been doing zoning meetings, this way? How many, you've been doing it since it
Since
started?
I would say March, yeah, we've been doing all the meetings since March between the zoning board as well as, you know, zoning board commissions or BZA and then you guys. So I believe you all have, what, 3 or 4 a month? We don't bill
Yeah.
you guys for the during business hour ones. So like the
Right.
Tuesday mornings, you don't get billed for those.
Right, we just wanna see, cause we only have, you know, hopefully, this money, you know, money runs out in October, but, and we don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but if we've spent money while this was going on, when we had the money in our account to spend, then we need to look at spending it,
We
so.
started doing this as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, so
Yeah.
it would qualify as.
Okay. So Mike will get that all figured out then for on our end.
Did we do anything with laptops or computers for these guys working from home, or
Yes, we did.
we've covered that base already?
Yes.
So now we just need to add the headphones, and he'll get that for us too. There we go.
And then that's also Sean, IT guy who's not speaking. This is, we're also gonna get the, for the sound system for this room to make it better tomorrow.
Yes, sir. And it's also going to include a better camera that will allow for better broadcasting online as well. It'll get a wider view of all of you at the table, which right now we're kind of focused on the middle three. And it'll also have individual microphones for everyone sitting at the desks that are wireless, so that you guys will be individually mic'd, and then we can adjust the levels remotely. And then say Chuck's louder or Gabe's louder, you know, we can adjust the levels to you know, compensate for that. And then in turn, that gets rebroadcasted online to both the meetings as well as YouTube.
Okay.
So it allows for a much more improved hybrid solution.
I know.
We're gonna need
We're gonna have a director.
We need to make it sound better and
We need a
sound
booth
more.
guy, a
Chuck's gonna need
director.
a makeup artist with you,
It will inherently solve one of the problems too that all of you talked, and I think one question was asked in there. I couldn't hear anything. It will solve that problem.
All right, so
Makeup artist for Chuck.
I didn't have any other questions on the COVID money, but I'm on board with the truck and
There wasn't, I think wasn't anything that was discussed that I have an issue with.
yeah, so everything you mentioned, purchasing and
Same with Bill,
same with Bill, and then,
AV and,
yeah,
Technology.
technology stuff, and then we'll make a decision on chairs, I guess, next meeting.
Yes.
And then that's almost it, right? That next meeting?
Because I don't like to do things at the last minute, we should make our decision at the September 15th trustees meeting. There is one more meeting before our October 15th, and that is on October 6th. I'm trying to get us as far along the process as we can so that we're not making big decisions on October 6th. But if we still have some money left, we can maybe see some needs. Before the next meeting, I'll have an update for you for what we've agreed to spend, what the new balance is that's available, what the chairs and the other thing, cameras that we talked about cost. So you'll come into the next meeting with knowing.
and Sean will have all his money, or numbers for us too, so.
Yes.
What about the guys like workout stuff, like their gym equipment or anything?
Well, we have bought a ton of disinfectant, I know you can see that, but.
Well, I don't
So
know if there was
and
any-
sprayers, they bought sprayers, and so, paint sprayers, basically.
Yeah.
They're spraying everything down after someone uses the stuff.
So we
I don't know
claimed
if
all
there's-
that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we did.
And I
claim
don't
all
know if
that.
there's any kind of like other equipment that they might need, or that would be a little more.
As long as you just, they have what they need, and they disinfect it,
Do
so.
they have it at all the different places, or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Michael, by chance, have you spoken to anybody else, different communities, that just good ideas, like you guys, just to see what anyone else is doing?
Yeah. I don't have a list of what everybody else has bought.
No, I was just wondering, to kind of get like, you know, if you talk to somebody else from like Concord, or see what they're, maybe another idea to plan for us. That's all.
Actually, most of them are following us. Most of them said, "You bought a truck? When did you do that?" They're following us. We're
Well, I know some West Enders bought a truck before us, because that's how we got the idea, so I know that.
And the chairs, Perry Township, that was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll take credit for it, that's all.
Yeah, that's, here we go.
can we get extended warranties on the new vehicles? As part of the purchase price?
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, and
Yeah.
6
At
year,
least
8
powertrain,
year,
yeah.
whatever, I mean,
Right.
Just going forward though, when these things get old, there may or may not be money available to replace these individual items. We get to that point, it might return back to the present day as opposed to, it's like when Clinton did that 100,000 or whatever new cops on the road and everybody got this free money and they hired all these police officers, so it came time for them to pay for it, there was no money. So, you know,
After the money ran out.
yeah,
that money expired.
yeah, I agree that when an existing vehicle goes down, it doesn't automatically mean.
These might not be added into normal inventory of
I mean, if the
fleet.
township situation is better when that happens, then
It's different.
it's a different story. But if it's just as it is today, it'll be difficult to justify, but just throwing that out.
And if we get worse, we have to sell them.
But yeah, extended warranty is if, I mean, it's a $2,000 warranty that is covered under the money, then.
Yeah, great idea, great idea.
save us down the road.
I'll bring that up now because it was gonna be part of my report. We bought an extended warranty on a dump truck and we just got a $25,000 repair paid for under that.
Wow.
They rebuilt the engine on a truck and it was covered under the extended warranty, so.
I wonder if you could, I mean, your new truck, if we could reach back out to the dealership, we can get the extended warranty.
Oh, yeah, he's working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
you
do it
have
in a certain amount of time, like
Yeah.
90 days or something.
But I can just tell you, the guy I'm working with is slammed because everybody wants new trucks
Right.
today.
Is that, are you, Eric?
Here, yeah.
All we have to do is order it, we don't have to.
It's gotta be
Right,
ordered
right,
paid,
yeah.
ordered and paid, right? The money
We need
has
to have an invoice or a purchase order, or I mean, a firm quote,
Right.
and issue a purchase order. That meets the requirements. When we write the check, doesn't matter. It meets the requirements of the CARES Act that we
We
have.
just need a purchase order.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we want to try to get it in service as quick as we can on all of them, so. Yeah, do you think of any other items that we need to make things safer?
We'll think about it for the next meeting. We'll see if we have more ideas. These were the main needs that we thought would keep our employees safe.
Break room, the service garage, are those cloth chairs?
No, they're plastic.
Isn't there like in the, where you guys got the TV, like on a day where you're plowing, isn't there like some like recliners?
Yeah, that's just, yeah. Oh, that's just stuff that people are getting rid of and we end up getting it, so.
But those are, again, those can't be cleaned.
But there's only 2 guys allowed to be in there at a time, so.
Don't get money. I mean,
We'll talk about it. I feel like you're not on board here.
because you guys have leather recliners.
We have leather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ours are,
Yeah. So that might be an option too,
Okay, I'll look into that and have them
and those aren't cheap.
for the next meeting.
you know, I can give you the guy that we bought them from.
Yeah. Did you guys got the township logo on them or your?
No, we decided not to do
No,
that.
okay.
We just left it without.
Okay.
Because of,
Is that expensive?
well, no, it was just that it's not actually sewn into the chair itself. It was like a doily set over it. It's like, you guys are just gonna throw it away anyway. They're knocking on the floor and it's
Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's,
Okay.
Okay, so that it for CARES Act? Okay, the next item is, I would like to request an executive session to discuss the JED. We don't have to do that tonight. I advised you in my reports that there is an issue with one community. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it tonight. I do not have an answer yet. I'm waiting on Kevin, hopefully getting hold of an Osborne. Is this not ringing a bell?
I know there was an issue.
Yeah.
I know there was one piece of land they wanted to add.
If they can't add that piece of land, they have nothing to contribute to the JED.
I did not pick up on that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, we sort of knew that, but we were sort of,
Well, we thought they were bringing that 40-acre parcel with them to join the JED. That was their
Well-
contribution.
kind of, but
It's not an issue to me. I thought it would be an issue to you, that if they don't bring property, why are they in it? And I don't have an issue.
Even if they bring property, we don't get, we wouldn't be benefit, the JED wouldn't.
Yeah, if we put it in the JED, it would become part of the JED versus their income
It's a
tax.
40-acre parcel, it would be prime for the other community to find somebody to go there. That was the thought process behind it.
Like if money would go into the JED from it,
Yeah.
would they give up the income tax?
If they're in the JED, yeah, we go into the,
Oh, okay.
that little community thinks in the long run, they'll make more than they would off of just a 40-acre parcel. But if they were part of the JED collective, they would benefit more. It's, nobody can prove it, but that's the thought behind it. So I don't know if we need, if you need to break out and talk about it, we can. If not, like I said, I don't.
Yeah, let's go to executive session. So, request to go to executive session to discuss.
Are we done? You wanna do that?
Terminology. You wanna do it now?
Yeah, let's get, you wanna get to the rest of his? Rest of Mike's stuff or no?
I don't care. It's right next on the list.
Okay.
Mike has like 10 more items.
All right.
Well, executive session means you gotta cut off the live feed.
Right. Yeah, right, cut all that off.
Or we can just go in the back room. Did he stop and restart? You get another $100?
Yeah, he could just leave it running, and then we'll just come back.
Hey, Sean?
So what's our plan? What would you like to do?
Some of us are going to leave the meeting room for a few minutes to have an executive session in another room, so we don't want to interrupt the stream.
So
Okay.
just let it go. You won't see us, but just let it go.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Yep, we'll stay here. I get what you're doing. Okay, yep, we're good. We'll hang out here.
All right, so I need a motion to request to go to executive session to discuss joint economic development with the neighboring community.
And Mike, really quick, I am still in the meeting, so were you going to leave?
No, we're gonna leave the room.
Just leave the meeting set. Don't touch anything. We're just
Okay.
gonna walk out.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
All right, so I had a
Motion second, Mike.
Call roll, please.
Trustee Chickanetti?
Yay.
Trustee Hillier?
Yay.
Trustee Pennant?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the back room.
Oh. You don't need me for anything, I don't think.
Not on this, no. You get it.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell we're doing. Hey, we can entertain everybody.
I guess not.
All right.
For those of us viewing the live stream, we are waiting on a side session to conclude. The trustees will be back shortly.
Yeah, they don't go anywhere else. They don't go recycle down to our department and.
But we could sell them.
What about your chair in your office?
Actually, my chair is very nice because I brought it from home. I had it at my previous career. But thank you for thinking of me.
Should have been $800 chair.
What we hoping for?
Last few businesses and
Oh,
all
yes.
that. Well, you do get what you pay for, that's for sure.
There you go. That's exactly.
And the stream has continued as requested. So just reminding everyone we are still live.
All right, executive session ended at 7:42, and we're back to the work session at 7:43.
Oh, yeah.
The Roth 457, Mike?
Give me a second.
Time's up.
Okay. Roth 457, the OPERS, I should say, the state's idea of a 401k for government employees is called Ohio Deferred Compensation. Right. That's what we all participate in. That is taken with pre-tax dollars. Your contribution is pre-tax to it. Ohio Deferred Compensation has come out with another product that is a Roth 457. The advantage to that is it's post-tax dollars. So you're paying your taxes now instead of when you draw it out.
Is that available now for us to do?
Pardon me?
That's available now for us to do?
Yeah, it's brand new. I'm asking the trustees if you'll authorize us to participate in it. I personally would like to.
I would like to as well, so I'm 100% favor of doing that versus the traditional deferred comp.
There's no cost to the township. There's no administrative fees or anything to the township. It's set it up and then it's an
So
automatic.
it just gives the employee the choice if they want the traditional.
Or both. They can do one or the other. Or both.
But you're still contributing to ERS.
Well, that's
like
separate.
normal. This is just deferred comp.
It's just your deferred comp, and either going to be a pre-tax contribution or a post-tax contribution. And that affects the taxation of the money when you pull out after 55 and a half is what it comes in. Yeah. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
On board, sure.
Yes.
No reason to say no.
Thank you. Sign at the corner of Overlook and Riverside. I'm advising you of this because I'm anticipating a battle. If you pull Overlook up to Riverside Drive, if you look right towards Madison Avenue,
Yeah.
there is a fairly big political sign in the road right of way in the guy's front yard. It's guy's front yard, but it's in the road right of way. And we've had 2 complaints from people who say, I pull up to the corner, I look right and I can't see the oncoming traffic. Remove the sign. I sent the property owner a certified letter making it very, very clear we do not regulate political signs except in the road right of way, not allowed in the road right of way. He signed my certified receipt from the post office with COVID-19. I don't want to stand underneath you. I anticipate that if we physically remove the sign, it's not like one of these little 2 skinny little posts in the ground. It's going to take a couple of guys.
Chuck can take those out, 2 little post ones.
Yeah.
He's good though.
Yeah.
You knocked down all the chimneys in the yard.
Haven't been lifting lately, have you? Anyway, so I'm advising the trustees of this because I have notified the property owner. I think we should remove the sign. I think it's in the road right away, blocking view. But I also expect backlash because of this.
Is this a matter of
Can we just
can
go
we just
out
have
of
to
the road
move
right
it
away?
down? I mean, could we just move it down and be out of the sight line?
Probably not. It's a problem where it is, just because of the size of it.
That's what I'm getting though. If he moved it to his other edge of his property down,
The northern edge of the property
yeah,
line.
if he moved it down there, you would have that clean because it's not.
Well, there's a curve on Riverside. I don't know.
I would think it would be less obtrusive or obstruction if it was way down at his property line at the other side versus on the corner.
But then we would be leaving it in the road right away. and I advised him in my letter, we don't allow.
I don't know if that's, Michael, I don't know if that's a correct statement of the road right away.
I think it's just a matter of obstruction,
Yeah,
right?
it's just obstruction. I mean, if it provides, so Fairport says you can't put them in the road right away. So nobody can have them on the
Tree lawn.
on the tree lawns. But up in your yard, you can do it.
It's not, yeah, but the right of way is not your yard.
Fairport, I don't think Fairport says the road right away is, it's, you're not allowed to have it in a tree lawn.
Well,
Because if
isn't
people
that
don't
the
have,
road right of way?
It's in the right of way.
well, but if somebody doesn't have a sidewalk, you know, or like, let's go on East Street where some of those houses, there are tree lawns like this, and their sidewalks over, that's probably still, if you measure from the center, that's still probably road right of way by
So it
measurements.
just can't be tree lawn.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. When I ran the first time, I had somebody put them up, my signs in Fairport, and I got a call, and the call simply said, you can't put any signs in any tree lawns in Fairport. So we had to move them from the tree lawn over the
That
sidewalk.
nicely called you.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, but I'm thinking that's because.
They said you have an hour to come move them or they're being removed, is what they actually
The
said.
tree line is the right of way, because that's usually the right of way is back to sidewalk to back to sidewalk. So the tree line is in the right of way.
But see, I'm thinking, what about, some of those streets have huge tree lawns and some have really
All right,
small
but-
tree
all right,
lawns.
so
you know?
We're talking about Fairport.
yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't know if
measurements.
we have anything that says you can't put it, Bill, correct, do we? We have nothing written that you can't put it in the road right away. I think it's
That
just
would
if
be a
it's,
zoning
if
question.
it's a safety issue.
That's a
it's a safety
zoning
issue.
question.
All right.
Can we regulate signs in the road right away, Rich?
Yes.
Absolutely,
Political signs,
absolutely.
even if
We
they're,
don't regulate them unless they're in line of sight, you know, road right of way.
It's the thing is,
It's over.
well, that's what I'm
It's not on their property. It's not like somebody's putting a sign on their own property. That we can't regulate. But if they're putting it outside of their property, you can't do that.
That doesn't mean we're not gonna have blowback on this particular issue.
I understand that.
That's still their property, it's just the road right of way.
No. You don't own. You don't own.
you're just tasked with maintaining it.
Yeah.
We can plant trees there, we can do
You're
whatever.
tasked with maintaining it and you get the free use of it, but it's not, you don't own it.
Where does it begin?
Edge of the road right away.
Where's the road right of way? 25 feet from the middle of the
30.
Every road
Everyone's
is
different,
different.
and we find that.
Right of way can be 60, 80
Well,
feet.
Number one, I think Riverside Drive by Overlook is a county road, isn't it, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, some county roads and some state roads don't have their entire right-of-way dedicated as right-of-way. So we have to check individual parcels to see where the legal descriptions put their lot line. If it puts it in the center of the road, we can't claim it's in the road right-of-way.
So maybe to expand on that a little bit, a long time ago, your property went to the middle of the road, and the road was actually in an easement, like a highway easement. So the road was actually on your property. But over time, in newer areas, the right-of-way stops at the right-of-way lines. Your property stops at the right-of-way line. So what Rich is saying is, yeah, on some of the older roads, the property owner technically does own out to the center line.
Yeah, I know for a fact on Bull Hall Road, and I'm pretty sure on Riverside Drive in that stretch, there are some lots that do go to the center of the road.
Whatever, at the end of the day, the sign needs to be moved. If it's an obstruction to
It
the
is.
safety, so it needs to be moved. I don't even know whose sign it is, it doesn't matter. But
Well, so here's the thing. So here's his lot, here's Overlook. He has a sign right here right now, right?
where's Overlook?
This is Overlook.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so it's right in the corner.
So it's there. So what I'm getting is, his lot line was all the way over here. If he was to move that sign
All the way to the end.
all the way to the end, this portion of Riverside is pretty straight
So
right
that
there.
narrow little lot between his and the neighbor, that narrow lot there?
That's a house.
There's a house being built on it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the house that goes way in the back.
yeah.
Okay.
So he's the big white one on the corner when you turn
Yeah.
over. So he's got that, yeah, he's got that brick, like, he's got like a brick wall on the corner there. So what I'm saying is, if we nicely ask him to move it from here over to here and maintain, and there's the road right away, you see it's not that far from the road.
So, yeah, so this particular property, Rich, the right-of-way line is offset from the road. It does not extend to the center of the road. Some of the houses to the north of here, their property does extend to the center of the road, but the one in question does not.
Yes, exactly. So I think that would be,
All I can do is ask him.
well, that's what I'm saying. I'll ask him, I know him, I'll ask him and see if he'll move it to the other end of the property, and then we'll see what it looks like at that point versus just going and ripping the guy's sign up. I think that's a better, especially since it's a county road, as Rich said, and we really technically don't have, because we've done it, we've had that before where there's bushes or something and we don't do it, we tell the county to go do it. So technically speaking, it would be our, you know, our jurisdiction anyways, being a county road, am I right?
It's the people that can't see it pull up over. It is legitimate.
No, and I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, if you look at his lot, how far it extends over, and then you look at that stretch of Riverside, which is really straight almost until you get down to Callie's house is when it starts to curve. And then it does curve this way anyway, so it really curves not away, but I mean, not, you know, out of the sight line, but actually curves into the sight line. So I would think that, yeah, it's 2 houses down, Rich, they actually start to extend into the road. The lots extend in the middle of the road. So he just missed the cut on that one. But I'll talk to him first. And then if not, then I think we would just make it a county issue because it's a county road. If we can't get some, what do you guys think? You guys, is that fair?
Well, I know that was stated, no, that's very fair, but it was stated that the road curves, and so I'm just looking at this map, and if it goes, if he puts it here, are they gonna be able to see down? I would think they could.
And that's what I'm saying. See, it doesn't curve away, so it actually curves into a better view.
It curves the other way.
Yeah, exactly. So it actually opens up into a clearer view that way versus back.
So to see past, you got to pull up to the very edge. I did that tonight. I pulled up, and once you get up to the very edge, I could see around it, but.
But there are a couple of residents that don't feel they can see, it's not safe for them, and that's who I was representing.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
No, well, that's a good call, so that's great.
So let's see if we can make.
I'll try to
make everybody
handle
happy,
diplomatically, make everybody happy.
Let him keep his sign. If he can move it and if it takes care of the obstruction, then he would be happy and the resident that contacted you would be happy. If not, we'll have to then, I guess, get the county involved.
Right.
I happen to know him too.
Yeah.
But just also, if it comes up, the fact that it's a political sign, doesn't matter, it's content neutral.
Correct.
Yeah, and I made it.
I'll make it very clear to him, it has nothing to do with what's on it, it's just the fact that it's been verified that it's in the way of the site.
You can talk to him about it.
Yeah, I'll hit him up.
I don't even know what sign he has, so I have no clue right now.
Yeah.
I know him.
Probably a Chicken Eddie sign or something. That one's coming down.
You good on that one?
Yes.
Okay, next would be the Special Improvement District. That's the, we actually discussed this a year ago. The Mayors and Managers Association is trying to form a special improvement district along the lake shore from one end of the county to the other. And it will provide a financing option to the residents if they want to do shoreline projects to shore up their shoreline. That got stopped in the middle of the process because the mayors and managers fired the law firm they hired and hired a new one, started over. Well, now they're ready to proceed. I'm getting the documents, and we need a resolution from the trustees saying that they want, that Painesville Township wants to join the Special Improvement District. You'll remember Dennis Morley and Ed Clow and Rick Trezevich came in and spoke with you about it. That's the project.
Yep.
So I have on the agenda tonight to pass a resolution to join it.
Did we pass a resolution previously? We did.
I thought we did too, but I couldn't find it, and
Or maybe we tabled it or something.
I'm not sure we did, but I couldn't find it, and we need to have this particular one. It's
It's the last one, okay.
okay, limited home rule. I will tell you, Jeremy, Jason wrote an excellent memo. It really made it a lot easier to understand than trying to read the ORC. Oh, we woke Jason up.
I've been texting with him, I know.
So I sent you the memo. Self-explanatory. What do the trustees want to talk about special improvement district?
Looks like Jason Bourne with
Oh,
glasses.
wait, we're doing special improvement or limited home rule?
I'm sorry, we went on to limited home rule. I'm
Well, you
sorry.
said the trustees want to talk about special improvement districts, so I was lost in what you
I
meant.
am sorry.
So we're on home rule.
My mistake.
Okay,
We're on
okay.
limited home rule. I'm sorry. My mistake.
I missed that document in the,
I read it last night, but there was a lot to absorb. Can you,
There's a lot to it.
give us a summary and explain the clip notes, what we need to know?
Yeah, I'll let Jason give you most of the summary.
Okay.
Just, if you recall, when we started talking about this, it had to do with the transient sector issue and that we didn't have enough teeth in our ordinance, we couldn't really change it. We had to go by the ORC. That's where at least our part of the conversation began, just talking about that. So, and we'll be happy to explain anything in the memo, and Jason can explain it a little bit, but it's pretty, it doesn't take that much work to get it done. It gives you a lot more flexibility. It's not quite like a city home rule, but it gives you a lot more flexibility, like with those transient issues. And you try to put a lot of examples of other towns.
And also other zoning issues too.
Yeah, all
correct?
kinds of other zoning issues that you can do. It also can change, the way that we, instead of criminally prosecuting zoning issues, they can be civil. It changes the way that we can do it, which would make it a little bit easier. But I'll let, Jason did all the research, did all the work. It's his baby a little bit. So I'll let him give you a little bit of a rundown. And I did have him put in a couple of little, sort of more layman's terms types of things to try to explain a little bit. But, and I think we should have a conversation for a little while about all the things that we'll need. But I'll let Jason give you a little bit of a kind of synopsis.
Jason, floor is yours.
I mean, Jeremy covered it pretty well. I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, a township is a statutory creature. So, everything it does, it has to point to some statutory authority. This limited home rule just kind of changes that game a little bit. It allows the township to pass any law that doesn't conflict with a general Ohio statute. It's been around since 1991. There's only about 30 townships in Ohio that have adopted it. I believe none in Lake County.
Concord did.
Concord did, okay.
Last year, I think, or a year
When
before.
did they did it last year?
Just recent.
Yeah,
very recent.
18 or 19.
Very recent.
Yeah, within the last 18 months, I would say they did it, or 2 years.
Yeah. So it's as far as the exact range of that authority, it's actually never been challenged in court, knock on wood up to this point. I did include in the memo, there's a pretty long list of other resolutions that I found that other townships with limited home rule have passed, so you can kind of get a flavor for what other townships have done. But certainly, transient vendor stuff, most of them passed something different than what's in the Ohio Revised Code. As Jeremy said, the zoning stuff, instead of making it criminal, you can make it civil, which changes the burden the township has to show to get a violation.
Real quick on that would mean that
Hang on, Jason.
if we did a zoning violation, we would not have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there was.
Right.
Because right now it's criminal, so it's gotta be beyond a reasonable doubt. It just has to be more likely than not. So it would make it a little bit easier, and we'd be able to change all the penalties and put a little more teeth and everything, so.
And if I remember correctly, when I was talking to Concord, when they passed theirs, it gives us a little bit more teeth as well when people are, let's say, doing improvements or building on their house to enforce, let's say, to finish that instead of leaving the siding paper up and not putting siding up. It gives you some more authority to kind of push that to have some teeth to make those type of things happen versus just letting it go.
So because it's civil, it would add in, you could go for injunctions on people, so then they'd be kind of under court order, kind of be tethered to the court for a while if you got a permanent injunction. The fines can be up to $1,000. Right now, the max fine we can go with on a zoning is $500. So it would essentially double, what you could do. You can do things like have, you can step up fine amounts for subsequent violations. So first thing could be $200. You do it again, it's $500. You do it anytime after that, it's $1,000.
Could you also, in that same thing, when you would you be able to deploy either one, essentially like a city does? So they can charge a guy, let's say, in court for a criminal, they can, file it under the ORC statute or their city statute in a criminal type of charge. Could you essentially do that in the same where you can go after them civilly, right? Step up, but let's say you get to a point where it's third offense, then you could go after them with the criminal charge after you exceed your civil steps, so to speak. Do you have that option as well to deploy the ORC criminal side as well alongside your civil side too?
So you couldn't do both at the same time.
Right, but if you say like a step up, what I was getting at is you said first offense, second offense, and let's say the third offense, if by the third offense you don't comply, we will file a criminal zoning violation, and they would actually go under a criminal violation versus just civil,
Yeah, so you certainly could. I mean, it'd be up to the township's decision of whether to violate them under the resolution that makes it a civil offense or under the Ohio Revised Code. In that particular instance, though, it really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to go criminal because the zoning stuff, it never carries the possibility of a jail sentence. $500 is the maximum fine you can get.
Well, let's it's not out of the fine, but I'll give you an example of what we dealt with Hardy. For them to have a criminal charge for this violation back then was a huge deal for them when it came to insurance for having that criminal charge. So that was really held a lot of weight with them because for them to move forward with their liability insurance, they couldn't have that criminal charge against the business. So that's what I was kind of getting at. It gives us a little more teeth if we needed somebody that's not complying because they could just write $200 checks all day. You know what I mean?
If it was going to get better enforcement.
That's what I'm getting at, right? Okay.
Yeah, certainly, definitely, I would say even more so, with the corporate entities, that would definitely be on the table for them.
Yeah, right. He just made a good point. Liquor establishments as well, so that if we're looking at some sort of licensing, to put that into the when we're making a case to not renew a license, if they have that criminal charge, that would definitely help us too.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, I can't really give you a total rundown of what it would allow you as trustees to do. But
what's the drawback, Jason?
I'm sorry.
What's the drawback? What's the negative? Is there a negative other than you have to provide policing? I believe is part of it, right? So we already do that, so we're covered.
Correct. But in particular, that policing though has to enforce, it has to enforce your local stuff as well. I know there's already sheriffs in the township, but they only enforce Ohio Revised Code offenses.
Are we going to put ourselves into a position where the sheriff's office is going to say, well, number one, you have to pay us to enforce your limited home rules, and for that, we're requiring this extra.
Yeah, I think that would be the only question is, would the sheriff's department, and we could probably find some of that out from Concord, would they?
Yeah, they get charged that. I guess that's the best way.
Because then they would have to be enforcing, resolutions and ordinances that you guys pass, opposed to just the Ohio Revised Code.
I don't see that being an issue.
I don't either, because how often do you have to deploy them to?
Correct, but I mean, their duties, under the Ohio Revised Code is to keep the peace.
Well,
period,
that's their
right?
deal under their basic responsibility for the Ohio. Now, we also have a contract that's coming up too, so if they,
I believe the contract with the sheriff's office will have to state that they will enforce that.
Yeah.
It'll have to be in the contract.
Okay.
I think that's required.
Have that discussion with Sheriff.
Yeah, right.
Do you,
Concord should
you have a
probably
copy
have
of
it
your
in
current
there.
contract you can shoot over to us?
Pardon me?
Do you have a copy of your current contract you can shoot over to us?
Probably look at Concord's too, because if they're a home rule, maybe they got.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to have done that, so.
Yeah, so there was something else.
And I would probably reach out, honestly, to do the homework on that, reach out to like Chris versus the current trustees, because he was part of, implementing this, and he probably has a better idea, than what the current trust, and I'm not, but they're all kind of fresh in this, where he was part of
To
deploying.
them, that's the way it's always been.
Exactly. So he would know anything different had to happen
When Concord implemented their limited home rule, the trustees made an agreement amongst themselves. They weren't going to pass any resolutions under home rule for the first year because they wanted to gauge how it was going and how it would impact. I don't know if they stuck to that, but they wanted to take a very cautious approach to it. It does make a big change in government authority. It changes our government. We have a lot more authority with this. There's a lot more responsibility. I would highly recommend that everybody read Jason's memo several times.
So we looked at it originally when it first came out. We decided not to, I can't remember, maybe it was the sheriff thing, because we had the sheriff or.
What were they really going to enforce?
What's that?
How much of it they're really going to be enforcing?
No, I did, there were other provisions in that. I have to look.
Saying that
I can't.
back then they didn't pay them anything.
We didn't contract with them back then,
That's what I'm getting.
so that was the negative.
Could have been.
To implement it,
That doesn't, that's not ringing.
You got no clue. You always bring it up, but you have no clue.
to implement this, is it simply?
You always say we didn't do it, but I don't know why, so.
I can go back and think about it or look at it, but there have been times I said, don't do this, or.
No, back in 1921.
So to implement,
Let me tell you.
Motion to adjourn.
I had a quick question because I'm a little confused by it. The sheriff's department does enforce our noise ordinance, our transient vendor requirement, and our parking. So I was just wondering how that's different than what
Well,
we might be.
Parking, I think there's nothing we would really want to change on that, so we would leave that as is. And that's that's a resolution anyways, that's not an ORC thing, and they don't charge us extra to enforce that, so that's a good example. Our parking is by resolution anyways, it's not an ORC violation, so.
Those the noise and the transient vendor, those are our resolutions.
Yeah, but doesn't a transient vendor fall under the purview of the ORC somehow or no?
Yeah, we have a resolution, but it had to be within what the RC allows.
For transient vendor specifically? Right. So maybe there's some gray area on that.
There are some other things though that we can pass.
Yeah. All right, so I think,
Well, in talking about this with the sheriff's office, they can only enforce resolutions that we pass after we become a limited home rule township. So we can't become a limited home rule township and say, hey, last year we passed this resolution on parking, go enforce it. We would have to make a new resolution if we wanted to make it something that was legally enforceable. They're still going to do the job they're doing. I guess my point is, limited home rule is not retroactive. It doesn't cover any resolutions passed up till the moment you officially become a limited home rule township.
Mike, so you've read it, what are your thoughts? As the administrator, what are your objective opinion? Please share.
I'm a little concerned about how much we're going to create with this. If you're asking me for my opinion, I'm afraid we're going to make very strong resolutions to punish people. And there's an administrative side to this. And it's changing our government. You know, we're pretty limited the way we are. And now we're going to give ourselves more power if we go through and do this. I guess I'm a little cautious.
What would be, what would be passed that would concern you that you'd be referencing, giving us more power? So we've spoken of things like, zoning are the issues really, but even the transient vendor, things like that, dealing with some property owners who are continuous problems for zoning. The thought was, if I have this right, that the limited home rule would help us put more teeth into enforcement.
what we're doing already, right?
Yeah, so it would put more teeth into it, but then what would be the drawback on that? I'm just trying to understand. I'm interested because it's your job daily, and you got a big piece there, so I don't know.
If you look through Jason's memo, it gives a lot of examples of resolutions that other townships passed after they became limited home rule. There's a lot of control in there. They all didn't pass all of the resolutions, but you could tell topics came up.
You know, you're comparing a mixed bag of 30 or 40 communities and picking of each one and saying, looking at all those, and realistically, if you pick one community, probably none of, and I understand your concern, but to ease that, no, I'm saying, but I want to ease his concern that I think if you look at one community, not one deployed all of those things to make your job super hard.
Somebody could look through that list and say, I like 5 of these. Let's do it right now. Could happen.
I mean, for me, the main part of this was, I think, to give us more, like he was saying, is more teeth for stuff we're already doing with zoning, but to get better enforcement out of it versus spinning our wheels, because what we currently, so as far as workload goes, you guys are doing all this work, but there's not enough teeth to make it stick or make it impactful enough to get a change. Where if there was more teeth to what you were doing anyway, then it might solve it even sooner instead of dragging it out like we're going with like this lesson, right? You
That's
know?
one way to look at it, but there are some administrative duties to do. If you're gonna find people, you've gotta have a very specific procedure for, literally, the township. The trustees could find somebody without going through court. Right now, we have to go to court to get that $500. We wanna levy a fine of $1,000 for some resolution we pass in the future. There's an administrative step internally here in order to notify and then collect the money. Okay, just so you know, it's just not, you're not passing a limited rule, a resolution, and the people have to comply. They can still fight us like they do, and to implement it, you're gonna collect money, you're gonna put it on a tax bill, and it all can be done. I'm not afraid of the work. I'm telling you, there is.
It would be a civil judgment through the court?
No.
I think you can do it either way.
The way Jason's memo is written is the township could levy a fine of up to $1,000 without going through the court system. Now, if they refuse to pay, we have to go through the court system.
And the court gives us our money just as they would a criminal case, right?
Right. So yeah, the way enforcement works, so it is true that the township could issue citation letters and say, you have been fined this amount. And then a resident would have, a choice. They could just pay the money and that would go directly to the fiscal officer and that would be the end of it. But if they contest it or don't respond to the citation letter, it gets kicked over, to Painesville Municipal Court, and it would be handled there as a civil matter. You'd have a hearing, we'd have to prove by preponderance.
Okay.
So we're gonna table this discussion. I appreciate the input, the information, and the summary. I read the letter, the memo you guys generated was very nice, but I didn't get a chance for it to sink in. So next meeting, we'll discuss it some more and go from there.
I think just to kind of wrap that up too, first of all, obviously we have no dog in the fight. Whatever's gonna work. Find all this stuff fascinating. So we just want to make sure you have the information. I definitely don't think it's something you should jump to right away. I think it requires a lot of discussion over a long period of time.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. I really think this needs a lot of discussion and thought.
I agree.
Yeah, I got, all right, good enough. So Mike, there's a lot left on the agenda. We've got 15 minutes. I'm gonna let you drive here a little bit. Tell us what we need to get to.
The only other thing I think we need to talk about tonight is the complaint from Dave Novak about 524. Oh, no, and I have one other request I gotta ask. A couple other requests. Okay, Barrington Ridge.
So if he's skipping over children at play signs, we'll table that till next meeting.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought he was asking me. Well, we have to.
I know, but I also just want to say, if you guys found anything that says they're great, let me know. I mean, next meeting, I'd like to discuss it again and see if there is any input that says there's a benefit to them.
I mean, my input would be leave the ones that are there, don't put any new ones up, and if they come down and they get worse, we don't replace them. That would be my input for this.
So next meeting, we can discuss it.
Barrington Ridge, Dave Novak and his complaint.
So I read his email, refreshed my memory as to the specifics. Something was planted.
If you want me to?
Go ahead, please.
So somebody planted large evergreen trees in the right of way and constructed a stone wall within the right of way.
Oh,
So here's what it is. It's not a wall. I mean, it's technically a wall. Here's what it is. So the guy on the corner of Barrington and Kingsborough, he's on the, I guess you call it the west corner, the northwest corner of Kingsborough. Okay? So to the right is a dead end street, and there's only one house next to him before you get into the cul-de-sac. To the left is Clearview, because that's the other way. He did put bushes in the right way. The wall is actually, he put about 30-inch maybe brick pillars at each side of his driveway, and then he built about maybe a knee-high, maybe 2 to 3 block high wall off of that. So when we say wall, it's not like, you know, like a wall here, it's like literally, it just steps down off of those
But
pillars.
it is 4 feet off the road. It is definitely in the right of way.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the right of way. My thing is that if it's not obstructing a view, and we start saying that every piece of landscaping that falls within the road right of way, we are opening, I mean, you just drive down his section of Barrington, and every house on that street has some sort of landscaping in the road right of way.
But the issue is this, in my opinion, this just went in the very recent past. The wall was just built, and then we have received a complaint. So it's not like we're going out looking. If there's been a tree in the right of way for years, then we're not gonna pursue
There's
that.
a history there because their dogs got into fights, so that's why.
We knew there had to be something.
Yeah,
we knew it.
their dogs got into fights.
I knew there had to be something.
So something was just built in the right of way, and we received a complaint. I think we have to do something about it.
Personally, if it's not obstructing anybody's view in the road right away,
They're out there right now putting in a walkway or something out of there too, so. If you're gonna say something, you're gonna say it now.
Well, I mean, my thing is it doesn't obstruct anybody's view. It doesn't cause any traffic, impeding on any traffic. And now, so like I said, now if you start picking up landscaping that happens to fall in the road right away that creates no obstruction of view.
Here's what, they built a wall right along here. There's a bunch of pictures in it. Here, Dave's thing, here. They put a bunch of big arborvitae.
Aisle in there.
So what it is, you put a pillar here, a pillar here, and then it's like a step down. It probably starts like a 2 to 3 blocks high, maybe 4, and then steps down away from.
Actually, the buses now.
Steps down,
They're
and he has this. And Dave's also, I believe, this has been there for,
That's been there
20 years, since they built the development.
Correct.
Now that's
like
he's got a bunch of pictures.
Kids and stuff like that.
Your
There,
picture.
that
Bill?
buses are.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Did you see the wall?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
As far as site restriction, he's got a weeping cherry tree that's been there for a few years. It causes the biggest obstruction. It isn't the arborvitae.
Right, okay.
Well,
That's
are
the one that's
probably-
in that, the beds, there's 2 beds on the corner of Kingsborough
Yeah.
that have been there forever, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you were to draw the site distance triangle, I'm sure that some of them might be into it, but it's the little cherry tree that's
been there.
that's been there for years that is causing the problem.
That's the weeping cherry there.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that's just.
Yeah.
I'm
so
telling
this is the stop sign. So as you can see, the only thing that's causing any obstruction is that weeping cherry.
Big.
That's gotta go.
But this is, so here, you can see I'm right in line with the stop sign. So this really creates no, so anybody that's coming around the cul-de-sac is on this side of the road, so it creates no obstruction from any of the traffic. And, oh yeah, you can see, that wall is no higher than, like 2 blocks. That's as,
Keep going now. So it's bigger, it's taller there.
I personally, if it's not causing obstruction and not of sight lines of any sort, now, the only issue is what he brought up about some sort of, county easement. Now, if we want to turn over to the county and they want to address that
It's
portion.
not a county easement, it's a utility easement to like Ohio Bell, CEI.
Oh.
That's
Oh, I
all,
thought
that's
it was
a
a county.
utility easement.
Does it say county easement?
Well, it's aqua water. He probably said county water, but it's
Oh, okay.
it's a water line, a utility easement, and the water line is there.
My first thought was we present the information or ask the county engineer's office to look at the information that was presented to us. So somebody basically brought a complaint to us. We asked the county engineer's office to evaluate it and give us their recommendation. They provide engineering for the township. I think that's probably the appropriate way to go. I mean, rather than us looking for issues with site distance or anything like that, that's not something we should do. We should ask the engineers to do that. That's my thought.
Says weeping cherry tree, what's your thought? Because I do understand, and I took a picture of at the stop sign, and it's clear that as far as a view.
Yeah.
Because he mentions that in there, that it creates an obstruction of view, which it does not. That was his basis of his complaint, that it posed a obstruction of view, which it does not. So based on the complaint, that was what he said. This picture that I took, it clearly shows the only thing in the way is that weeping cherry tree. Everything else is far enough back that you can see his house and his neighbor's house around the tree. So,
But there are certain distances that the county engineer's office would evaluate. Can you see far enough? I think we should ask the county to evaluate it. That's my thought. At the very least, if all this stays, they get a letter from us stating that you constructed improvements, plantings and a wall within the road right of way. If for any reason that needs to be removed or is damaged by the township for any maintenance activities, you are not reimbursed for it going back. Because I understand that we gotta make sure we cover ourselves too, that if something happens and we have to, that wall's gonna come out for some sort of project, we're not on the hook to put it back because it shouldn't be done in the first place.
I'm just telling you, you can see even in this picture, you look across the street, two houses have trees that are literally on the edge of the road.
It's been there for years and years.
What's the difference?
What's
the difference?
Somebody just put stuff in and we received a complaint.
I get it, but what does the
So
time
let me
length
ask
of
a
the
question.
have to do with it?
Josh, so on this picture, I've got this picture, where it shows it, and then I look at the county map, which isn't an official, but how do I know where that's on here? I mean, it kind of looks like it's done inside. I mean, if I'm looking at it, I'm thinking those arborvitae's are inside that right of way, and he did the other stuff in here.
I'm sure someone was out there with the transit,
Yeah.
So here's what you can
And
do.
that could be,
If you go back to the picture of the plan that I sent,
okay,
I think it shows you, if you zoom in.
is there?
Yeah, I think it shows you like a 60-foot right of way in there. So you would have to go out.
30 feet from each center line.
You just go from the center line and measure out 30 feet, and you can see where the right of way line is.
In the site distance triangle, you have to come back 15 feet from Barrington, and then that's where you start measuring, and then you have to measure a certain distance down Barrington, and then you connect those lines, and anything in that triangle has to come out.
My thought is we get a professional engineer's opinion on it, the county.
They're gonna go, what, by the book?
Yeah,
Yeah, Josh, I know you're throwing that just like you did last meeting too, but there's times where I've seen you not go by the book, so don't go by the book on me here. Because I've seen you not go by the book. So when you look at the picture.
After the meeting, let's talk about examples.
So when you look at the picture, unless he gets out there and he measures it, I don't know if that's right. To me, it looks like it's inside the line. I mean, I would say the bricks are close and they're there, but then is that an issue on the line? And then if you enforce this, are you gonna enforce everywhere else in the township?
That's
Because
what I'm
that's
getting at.
next.
If
If we
it's
receive
not,
complaints, I think we have to.
but if it's, I mean, why? If it's not causing an issue,
So it's basically 15 feet off the edge of the road is where the right of way is. It's 15 or 16 feet off the edge of the road.
we can give them permission to have it in our right of way. And then you're done.
that's true.
The only people that haven't beeped it is us.
That's what I'm getting at. We've had but if this was something like this sign, let's say, at the corner of Riverside and Overlook, where we've had multiple complaints because of obstructing the view of traffic. This guy his front yard is on a dead-end cul-de-sac where there's no traffic obstruction whatsoever. Now, I understand we have the road right of way, but you're talking about, like Chuck said, you can see in my pictures across the street, the guy's got a tree that's touching the edge of the road. Where do we stop with things that aren't causing an issue? You drive down that whole street, both sides have landscaping well within the right of way. I mean, well within the right of way.
Well, the Carl's old house, he put up those big those boulders.
Yeah, right. DeCarlo's got the boulders on the side, on the corner, and those bushes. I would debate if those are out of the road right away at DeCarlo's old house. You know, I mean,
They put the boulders there because people kept going in his yard, sliding it down the hill.
right. And the tree on the
My
other
dad. And like I said, that's a few there, that's why you're getting this. It's not like somebody's like worried about the,
Is the sightline hindered? Not according to the pictures at all. Are the arborvitae's within the road right of way? I don't know. I'd have to get a surveyor to go out there and list it. But then if they're 2 feet in, are you gonna have the guy rip them all out? I mean, at what point?
I mean, like Mike said, if
He
we have
didn't
the,
put them up on the road. He didn't put them up on the road. He set them back. And so if you've got 30 feet, how wide is that road?
my railroad
Barrington.
ties are probably in the road right away.
Probably 20.
They are.
Probably a 12-foot lane, so 24 feet.
So you've got 12 feet here, and then you've got another, so you go, what, 30 feet? So you got another 17 feet to there, 17 and a half. I mean, that could very well be. I mean, that the guy's in there. So the real problem here is that the violation would be is those bricks, which are stacked no higher than 3 high off the ground, right? It's not obstructing
Yeah,
anything.
they're
The
no-
guy
they're no
has
high.
stone out there. I don't see the problem. And the only problem I do see is something that's been there for 20 years.
right, that
This thing.
that is the problem, that is,
But if anything, okay, get that out of the way because you're blocking the view from the other way, but
but in all
3
actuality,
minutes.
3 minutes.
but in all actuality, based on the sight line of traffic because of that lane, it's really not obstructing any, it is in the eyesight, as Bill said. I mean, do you think those bushes are causing an obstruction besides the cherry tree?
The arborvitae's?
And we have the permission, we have the legal authority to allow it, and it's not obstructing
Do we have the authority to grant that?
Because you're going this way, okay, so
right, that's what I'm
there's
saying.
no, it's not like you're coming the other way.
Do
You
we
might
have
be
the
all right,
authority
but
to
there's
grant
no-
that stone and the brick in the right of way? Do we have that authority
To do what, Chuck?
to allow that to be there, the township?
I don't know.
I think that'd
It's in the road right away.
be a bad, in my opinion, it'd be a bad choice to start granting various people permission to have things in the right of way, because 50 years down the road, somebody's like, why is this here? I'm allowed to
Here's my
do
thing,
that.
in the 9, 10 years that I've been here, the only time we've ever addressed anything that was in the road right of way is when it caused an issue with sightlines. If somebody brought something to us and it was in the road right of way, does it obstruct the sightline? No, then we left it alone. That's been the precedent we have set since I've been here.
These trees over there in the corner.
Right, yeah, I mean, that's a
Those
perfect
are even
example.
worse, those are 10 times worse than that.
Yeah, Mark Melchesky's
Jesse's
trees
trees
are
a little
10
thing.
times worse.
Are those in the right of way?
Sure they are. They gotta be.
They are now. I think what happened was when we first planted them, the base of them are not, but the growth has far encroached into the road right away.
That's actually dangerous. You know that.
But doesn't
You know
the
that.
counties come out and check that, right? And sight distance is okay?
Yes.
Because that's the thing, so there, where there was a sight distance concern,
Slice distance is okay if you put all the way up to that. and you're-
But what I'm getting at is, it was the road right away is for the issue, it's the site clearance that was the issue. And there was no site clearance issue there. So I feel that if we deployed that elsewhere, that we have our, I would think precedents that we could say, yes, they're in the road right away, but they're not causing an obstruction to the public use of the road or the view or safety, that it's a non-issue. However, if we want to address something, I could reasonably see him cutting down that tree that is clearly right in, I mean, literally is in the center here.
I can see that thing being addressed, gone,
Right.
because it's overgrown and stayed.
But I think the precedent we have set is that,
We really need to end this session.
we ask the
Start
county
doing-
for them to look at the sight distance and then react to that.
no, because we've already done that, and the site, they said no because of site distance. We can decide if it's in the site distance. Based on the precedent they've set, you can't decide if it's in the site distance?
It goes back to the Ohio Revised Code, which goes back to,
What do you mean? If it's not in this line of sight, that was what they came up with. No, it does not obstruct traffic. That's why they didn't tell us we had to cut Melchesky's trees down. We can tell, our qualified road superintendent can tell us that it's not obstructing the view. Why?
as much as I respect Bill's opinion and everything he does for the township, I, as an engineer, believe sight distance is actually a calculated number based on the sight triangle, speed of traffic, per the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices that should be evaluated. Which is why we've asked the county before to look at the trees at Melchesky's property. So that's,
I think this precedent is set that we clearly see that it's not in line of sight and it's not obstructing any traffic. That we haven't removed that tree because that is clearly in line of sight and obstructing the view of traffic, and leave it as is.
That's where I'm at.
That's, I mean,
That
that's
tree
fine.
can go. I don't see a problem with the other part.
So we're gonna ask him to remove that tree and then go on from there? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
I don't like that there's a stone wall. I think we should get the county's opinion, the county engineer's opinion.
I don't like on the stone wall.
Why? What's the stone wall doing? It's not even in this, it's not even, there's no line of sight at all. It doesn't even go up to the corner of the road.
What if somebody drifts off the road, runs into it, and gets seriously injured? We've got a record of somebody filing a complaint that says somebody's building a stone wall in the right of way, it should be addressed, and we don't address it. I mean, I know we have immunity, right, but
Yeah, but it would help if somebody sued, something like that, that we were aware. Generally, we have immunity for them.
Or you send them a letter saying, hey, you know, you put it in the road right away, but if something happens, then it's up to you.
I think we address the tree that's clearly obstructing the view. As we've precedence with everything else we've done, even if it's in the road right away, it is clearly not obstructing any traffic on that dead end street. We leave it as is. That's my opinion.
I want to get rid of that island in there anyways.
And we should have done that when they
Don't
paved
want to
it.
make that turn, I know, I didn't think about it, I didn't realize there was pavement there and kept like that. That thing, because of that, no one can make it on none of the trucks can make it around the Outback backed up.
Where do you stop? I mean, look at it. Where do you stop? Go look at that. That's against
there.
two
It's been
inches.
there.
So what? What is it? So does the Ohio Revised Code only happen when it's newly instructed? That's what I'm getting at. That's what Chuck's getting at. You applying the rules, but is it only if it's new? It doesn't apply when it's old? When does this apply?
typically we don't go
I mean-
around hunting out violations.
Well, this is what I'm getting at.
But if
All somebody has to
brings
do
a
is point
violation-
that out, and then somebody else gets in a fight, starts pointing out stuff that's in the road right away, causes no issue, that might have been there for 10 years, might have been there for 2
We
days.
gotta move on.
I know, but I'm just getting at, we gotta address it somehow, but we have to make a decision on this so we can move forward.
You're also gonna be entering into a neighbor feud, just so you know. There's gonna be more going back and forth, with that.
Okay. Are we good? I know you're not good.
I'm not good.
Okay.
How's this getting, somebody's got to get back to the person who made the complaint with whatever being decided, which sounds like not what I want, so.
Well, I think first we address that we have to, is that part of the development, or is that their property with that tree? Because those were obviously put in, there's 2 on each side. It
Oh,
looks to
no,
me-
that was not part of any HOA or any
So that's
development.
technically their property.
Yeah.
So I think our first step is to tell him he needs to remove that tree that's in the road right away, that's obstructing the view, which it clearly is.
It is.
And based on our precedent that we set, even though the other landscaping happens to fall within the road right away, it's not obstructing any safe and causing a safety issue, that we leave it as is.
If we can get them to cut that tree down, because technically we could go in there and cut it down because it's in the right of way.
Yeah, but I know, but we
So
at least
if we
give
can get
him
them to do it, but I think we should send a letter, a strongly worded letter, stating that it's been brought to our attention, they planted stuff in the right of way, have constructed a wall in the right of way, that, you know, so I don't know, that's technically not permitted. If for some reason the township needs to remove any of those features, you will not be compensated.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with
I
that.
mean, I don't know.
I would advise him that that is a utility easement where that black wall is. This is what I would do. I know we gotta start here. I would address that the black wall is a utility easement. It is not obstructing traffic, but it is in the utility easement. So in the event that it has to be removed, there will be no compensation because it is inside the road right away.
Or send out a letter.
You would do it.
Let us research it.
Okay.
and
There you go. All
give
right.
a letter.
But I think the first thing we should do is,
I want to research the immunity issue on that too.
okay,
So we'll do that.
all right.
So
So you make a valid concern about if a car hits that, and then you're, you know, on the
Right.
immunity portion, so.
Take a look after the meeting, drive out there and take a look. I mean,
I will.
pictures.
I will. All right, so we're already late. Gonna close this meeting and then gonna call the, we're gonna start the other end of the 10 countdown.
Yeah, everybody has to end this session, Rich and Harley and whoever else is there.
So
In the session, start the public meeting.
are we all the same participants for the public meeting then? Do you want to just maintain where we're already at?
That's what I was gonna get at. That's what I just asked. Why do we have to log off if we're
Because there might be
maintaining?
somebody logged in on the other one they get from the link, right, Mike?
Yes.
So let's. we
There's
wanna
two
close
separate
this.
links on our website.
We want to close this
Fine, I'll
because
make it
the
more
other
money.
link has it. Somebody may be attending that we don't know about.
Okay. We do have 5 concurrent viewers, so let's go ahead and formally call the end of this one, and then we'll shift over to the other one.
Would it be possible in the future to do one?
That's what I was just asking, yeah, that's,
And then somebody could join in midstream if they wanted to. Just join
It's up to
the-
the trustees, we can do
what,
that.
yeah, because what was the purpose of creating two anyways?
We always had 2 different meetings, and we wanted the people calling in for the public meeting to be able to interact with us, to send us questions. They can't do that on this one, they can only listen.
Sean, do you have the ability to shut that off and then turn it on mid-meeting?
I do not.
Okay.
They would be participants to the entirety if they were in 2 combined. So with your permission, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream here.